action in emerging economies and developing countries, and facilitated South-South and North exchanges among the project cities from Bangladesh, Brazil, Colombia, India, Indonesia, Laos, PDR, Rwanda, South Africa, and across Europe. Urban LEDS is funded by the European Union and implemented by UN Habitat and ICLEI local governments for sustainability. The conclusion of the project in December 2021 provides us with the opportunity to reflect, take stock, and look ahead of what further action is needed, and for cities to take us to the next level of transformative climate action. In this project Outlook webinar, key Urban LEDS project impacts and outcomes will be summarized, and reflections and lessons learned will be shared by mayors and ministers engaged in the project. As the window for urgent climate action solutions implementation to keep temperatures below 1.5 degrees closest, action in and for cities remains of critical importance. This action needs to be enabled by collaborative and engaging governance models with national governments and backed by innovative finance approaches that also mainstream climate criteria into government spending and procurement. The lessons learned and the partnerships built in this project are critical. Thus, this webinar is not a project retrospective, but a stepping stone for moving forward. So as I will be introducing the speakers for the welcoming remarks, please note the Mentimeter that we are sharing to get an overview of who is in this meeting. So without further ado, we're coming to the welcoming remarks, and I'm extremely pleased to have three leaders from the organizations that partnered on Urban LEDS here with us. Madam Maimouna Mohammed Sharif is the Executive Director of UN Habitat. Gino van Begin is the Secretary General of ICLEI. And Carla Montesi is the Director at the European Commission's Directorate General for International Partnerships and is responsible for the Directorate Green Deal Digital Agenda. Madam Executive Director, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ben, honorable ministers, mayors, partners from the project countries, the European Commission and ICLEI, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to take this opportunity to wish all of you Happy New Year 2022. And I hope that the year 2022 will be a better year for all of us to recover better in economic, social, and environmental challenges. As you know, just a few months ago, we came together in Glasgow at COP26 and made significant progress towards our shared goal of delivering on the Paris Agreement. One of our flagship efforts is to do this over the last 4 years has been the accelerating climate action through the promotion of Urban Low Emission Development Strategies Project, or Urban LEDS for short. So today, as Ben mentioned just now in his opening remark, that we reflect on progress made over the last 4 years, and we renew our support to cities and national governments towards realizing their climate vision through effective multi-level governance. So, well, colleagues, as I think as most of you know, what is Urban LEDS? It is a complex and comprehensive project. It delivers at scale in over 60 cities in 8 countries. It combines local and national climate action planning with technical and policy support. It supports project preparation work to channel climate investment towards implementation. And the project has also funded demonstration projects, including solar panels on schools, education centers, and methane gas capture at landfill sites, and also to help local government walk the talk. So Urban LEDS has been a delivery vehicle for cities to achieve the commitments they made when joining the Global Covenants of Mayors for Climate and Energy. And also all of our participating cities are from the developing countries or emerging economies. Naysayers would say low emission development is not a priority for them, but however, our partner cities recognize that low carbon and climate resilient service delivery makes development sense, improving health and increasing the economic resilience of the poorest citizens in particular. However, as we all know, a lot more is still to be done if we are to avoid the worst climate impacts and reduce global greenhouse gas emission by half by 2030 and reach net zero around 2050. And I believe that the Urban LEDS project provides good practices for cities and national governments around the globe to build on. I encourage cities to move away from fossil fuel energy to mainstream climate positive practices into their development plans and to work closely with national governments to deliver on national climate policy. I encourage national governments to see urban areas as a critical implementation vehicles for national urban climate and economic policy. Cities cannot solve the crisis of climate change alone. They need mandate, they need capacity and policy alignment, as well as the inclusion of climate criteria in national to local investment and financing decisions. So the good news is that in our analysis presented at COP26, we found that 84% of the new and updated NDCs contain strong or moderate urban content. So to my dear colleagues, Ms. Montesi at the European Commission, I offer my sincere gratitude for the generous and strategic role of the EC has played since 2012 in funding this pioneering work. The conclusion of this second phase marks just over 8 years of collaboration between the EU, UN Habitat, and ICLE on the urban LEDS approach. As the EU moves into its new programmatic cycles, we are committed to continue to work with you to deliver on our aligned missions for climate neutral and smart cities in Europe and around the world. Lastly, the project would not have been possible without our continued collaboration with ICLE. Their staff have provided invaluable technical support to the cities in this project, and their tireless advocacy for local governments is an invaluable contribution to our work. Before I go, I would like to take this opportunity to invite you all to join us in person or virtually in Katowice, Poland in June 2022 from 29 to 30th June for the 11th World Urban Forum hosted by UN Habitat together with the government of Poland. This is an important opportunity for urban and climate communities to come together, to share experiences and find new opportunities for partnership to accelerate and upscale approaches and projects like Urban LEDS. So let us look upon 2022 with fresh eyes, renewed vigor, and enthusiasm for what we can achieve together. Thank you very much. Over to you, Ben.
Thank you very much, Madam Executive Director, for your opening remarks, for setting the scene, and of course for taking us already well beyond this webinar. So my pleasure now to invite Gino van Begin to speak on behalf of ICLE.
Your Excellencies, dear Executive Director Mamouna Sharif, dear Director Carla Montesi, honorable mayors, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. Thank you very much, Mamouna, for your excellent and wonderful remarks, and allow me to take this opportunity to congratulate you on your reappointment for another term as the Executive Director of UN Habitat by the UN General Assembly last week. We are very much looking forward to continuing the fruitful partnership with UN Habitat under your leadership. The Urban LEDS project is an exciting demonstration of the partnership between UN Habitat and ICLEI that goes back to 2012. So we started the Urban LEDS project, and particularly phase 1, well before the Paris Agreement. Already at that time, at ICLEI, we felt very strong about the need for cities to step up their climate action efforts, to support the development of global climate agreements, and to advocate for climate policies that are implemented across the multiple levels of government worldwide. Urban LEDS 1 and Urban LEDS 2 have been flagship projects for ICLEI and our membership. We have been delighted to jointly implement them with our trusted partners and colleagues at UN Habitat. We're also deeply appreciative of the European Union funding and the support from the European Commission. Without you, it would have been impossible to achieve the outstanding results that this project has delivered, and of which we will hear more. To the audience here today, I would like to say that you will hear in detail about the numerous achieved results in a couple of moments. But I just want to take this opportunity to highlight the most important results and of which we are very proud. Through Urban LEDS, we were able to guide around 60 cities in both the European Union and 8 project countries in the Global South on a path towards low emission development. We did that through the design of new plans and strategies for their jurisdictions and with their citizens. The Global South countries that were involved were Brazil, Colombia, India, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Laos, South Africa, and Rwanda. Urban LEDS also significantly helped to shape our overall climate work in our network and has enabled us to better leverage the potential of cities to contribute to global climate efforts. As an example, we are now in a position to gather the ambitions of local governments through our own carbon climate registry and the ICLEI CDP unified reporting system, to which more than 1,100 cities in 90 countries are now reporting their climate targets. Urban LEDS has also supported the development of the Transformative Action Plan, the so-called TAP, which now functions as a product pipeline for bankable projects from subnational governments, some of which have been already successfully matched with donor funding. Through Urban LEDS co-funding, we also provided support on the ground climate projects, be it from installing solar panels for electricity in schools to a switch to LED lighting in a city hall. We are and will continue the outcomes, the knowledge, the experiences and deliverables of Urban LEDS to further our work in various dimensions. Through Urban LEDS, cities have been able to showcase real leadership on this front, and the mayors of the ICLEI network expressed their excitement to work with UN Habitat and the European Commission on this endeavor. We are confident about the future of subnational climate action. The subnational climate action led by cities shows an incredible potential, in particular when it comes to vertical integration to inform the NDCs. I want to close by once again thanking the European Commission for their trust and financial support, and to thank UN Habitat for the good partnership. I look forward to today's deliberations and the insights from the project. Thank you very much. Back to you, Bernd.
Thank you so much, Gino, and it's my pleasure to now invite Director Montesi, please.
Many thanks to you all, and I will say really good morning. I'm very pleased to share with you this moment, but allow me also to start, as Gino just did, to congratulate Mahmoud for really her new reappointment as executive director. This is really wonderful and good news from this new year. Allow me to say to you all that we really appreciate the great work that was achieved so far since the phase one of this program, the work done with UN Habitat, with ICLEI, but also the work done with the authorities at national and the local levels. And really would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you all involved towards these transformational changes on our cities. And it is, we say, despite the COVID pandemic that is creating a lot of problem to all of us. Now, Mohamed Gino has already explained a lot of, shared a lot of information about the great results of this program. I will not repeat, but allow me just to say that with this program, we have provided many tools, guidelines, analysis, training, relating to all the key subjects that the key challenges that we have in front of us. We hope all that all these tools will allow all of us really to better lead our policy at the national and the local level. Really, I would like to take this opportunity to appreciate the collaboration that we had with the Global Covenant of Mayors on climate and on energy, encouraging really the local governments to commit into this program. I think that this program has allowed us to engage European cities really in a work of peer-to-peer learning, and this was a great experience, and we should build on this experience also in our future action. This program has really supported cities to have access to resources to climate finance, and we know very well that this is one of the key challenges that we have also underlined during our COP meetings. We are launching now a final evaluation of this program, and really we hope to have the possibility to build on this evaluation, also to design the new future in the same domain. Now, I will take this opportunity just to underline once again that as European Union, we really remain fully engaged with our policy, with our program, to all the issues, to all the challenges that are linked to climate, low carbon development, and the green cities. The objective will be really part of our European policy that, as you know, is designed under what we call the Green Deal, our support to the green transition in our partner countries, and is also the key element of our new policy strategy called the Global Gateway, where really we want to improve, we want to support investment to develop global infrastructure to support, once again, a green and digital transition around the world. Now, we want really to keep focus on green cities. Allow me to say that, as was demonstrated also this program, cities have a central role in addressing the climate change, in delivering the Green Deal objective. Climate change starts and ends in cities, so we never stop to say that the role of cities is really capital facing these big challenges that we have all in front of us. And Urban LEDS has dedicated its efforts in supporting integrated solutions to climate changes at the cities and the national level. Now what we hope is to be able to scale up this experience and to ensure that we arrive to the next COP27 with an increasing ambition on adaptation and on climate finance, also supporting cities. What I can say that, as you know, we are programming now our future intervention for the period 21 and 27. I can assure that urban action will remain a priority. We have more than 20 countries that have chosen the work on urban cities as a key priorities in our programming exercise. So urban development will be a key issue in Caribbean for climate change adaptation, and of course to also support sustainable mobility in Latin America metropolitan areas. So action needed now, we are convinced really to be embedded in the national framework to ensure that we are able to enhance local and the national ownership. This, for us, will be really a key issue. So I really hope that we take today and during this webinar the opportunity to deepen the important experience that we had together, but also the wish to continue work with the local and the national authorities to continue focus in our action on climate change adaptation and mitigation, keeping a focus on the cities. Many thanks to all our partners, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Director Montesi. And of course, we look very much forward to working with you, and thank you for your encouraging words. We have worked in 60 cities. Of course, we will not be able to showcase all of them, but we have a short snapshot now in the form of a video for showcasing 4 cities before we then go into the presentations. So if we can start the video, please.
Nagpur is one of the top performing cities selected under the India Smart City Vision of 100 Smart Cities. The vision of Nagpur Smart City is to make the city most livable and eco-friendly. To achieve this objective, we are jointly working with the South Asia Equality. Under the Urban LEDS second phase project, prepared the greenhouse gas emission inventory, climate vulnerability assessment report. Apart from this, they also prepared the local biodiversity action plan to conserve the local biodiversity. Recently, they have started to work for the rainwater harvesting system at our school building, that is the IoT based system. I would like to appreciate the initiatives taken to make the city more climate resilient.
El proyecto Urban LEDS 2 ha beneficiado al municipio de Envigado, Colombia, en la actualización de su plan de cambio climático, tener un inventario propio local de gases de efecto invernadero, tener un proyecto piloto de energías alternativas y en general en ganar capacidades para enfrentar y adaptarnos mejor al cambio climático y construir territorios resilientes y con desarrollo bajo en carbono.
Our city houses close to 50% of the Rwandan urban population and is rapidly urbanizing within the context of rapid change. Understanding our climate change risks and the vulnerabilities is very crucial and very essential. We are particularly proud of the detailed work we have done with ICLE and UN Habitat in developing Kigali's risks and vulnerability assessment and greenhouse gas emission inventory, both of which have fed into our core policy documents, such as the Kigali Master Plan that has been recently approved and launched.
In Belo Horizonte, Urban LEDS 2 improved our ability to develop and implement projects with environmental impact. Two actions are currently being implemented. First, the installation of a photovoltaic plant in a municipal school, and second, an educational center on sustainability. And we hope that this brings us even closer to achieving a culture of low emission development strategies and achieve the global development milestones.
Thank you very much to the speakers who could not join us. In particular, of course, in Latin America, it's very early in the morning, so we are pleased to at least hear briefly from those speakers. So it's my pleasure now to hand over to our project partners from ICLEI and UN Habitat, the team that has been implementing the project over the last 4 years and 8 years, in fact, looking at both phases together. In the meantime, we have a second Mentimeter question, and if you could respond to that, that is in the chat. So we have project highlights that we will be presenting on accelerating climate action, climate finance for cities, multi-level governance, and the peer exchange and peer learning. And Mareike von Staden, the director of the Bonn Center of ICLEI, will kick us off with the accelerating climate action. Mareike, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Bernard, and wonderful to be with all of you today. So warm welcome, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening for all of you. We have had a very intensive, high-impact project, and happy to celebrate the successes with you today, where I will give a snapshot and hand over to my colleagues to deepen the lessons learned. It was my pleasure to lead on this particular project for ICLEI, working with all our teams, and it was an absolute pleasure also to work with you and Habitat, and we are thankful for the support of the European Union, the European Commission as well. Next slide, please. So the Urban LEDS project, in summary, started already April 2017, and it was ended and concluded in December 2021, actually. Working in a number of countries, building on the phase 1 successes, and of course also engaging European cities. And its main purpose was, it's a climate project, a climate action project, looking at reducing greenhouse gas emissions, but also switching to more integrated climate action, bringing adaptation and resilience into the picture as well. The total budget was €8 million and funded by the European Commission and jointly implemented by UN Habitat and ICLEI teams around the globe. Next slide, please. So a snapshot of the 70 cities actually that we've been supporting. You in the center, you see the world map. The section in orange were the phase 1 cities that have also been pulled into phase 2, and the section in blue are the European cities that are engaging, and of course our cities that were added to the project in Colombia, Rwanda, Bangladesh, and Laos, People's Democratic Republic. It was a wonderful experience to get this global project running with a lot of lessons shared also across continents and countries. Next slide, please. So what did we do? Essentially, we focused very much on supporting local governments and their cities, the territories. Not all were cities, some were also counties or districts. But essentially, we wanted to gain an overview of their greenhouse gas emissions for the whole territory. We wanted to identify climate risks and vulnerabilities, and understand the institutional context. So there was a lot of analysis done at the start with assessments that then informed the action plan itself. The action plans were developed also with support of technical experts, with policies identified and implementation actions prioritized, looking also to mainstream climate in all the sectors across the territory, and of course working with stakeholders. Locals, the citizens, local businesses, industry and so on are also really core partners in this space. Moving from the planning the implementation actually started, and we will give you some examples of wonderful implementation actions, but also tracking impact. So reporting was a part of the process to understand what has happened and what the baseline was, and where the intention is to move forward with capacity building at the heart of the project, capacity building and peer exchange. Next slide, please. Of course, we're impacting not just the local level. We want to also contribute to the nationally determined contribution of the countries. We wanted to make sure that there are global benefits, so supporting the Paris Agreement. And of course, this is a global Covenant of Mayors support project. So many of the cities in the project have committed to the GCOM. And as such, the project also has informed and shaped methodologies that are rolled out in the global Covenant of Mayors. Next slide. So these are the WOW numbers. We have implemented 21 pilot projects, implemented 10 peer-to-peer learning exchanges. 44 cities in total have committed to the Global Covenant of Mayors. We have compiled 20 greenhouse gas inventories, 22 climate risk and vulnerability assessments, a wonderful 21 urban-led strategies and climate action plans, and we have 63 projects that are in the project pipeline seeking further project preparation support as well as investment. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. There we go. The technical assistance was linked also to the reporting to track impact. So ICLEI's Green Climate Cities program was used as the methodology. This is our global climate impact program, which is very much open and free to any local government there. And the new component that we are working on now is to release guidance how to achieve climate neutrality. So watch that space. And all of this through this reporting space that we have created, there's one reporting space, namely the CDP ICLEI Unified Reporting System, which is there to report everything on the project, but also to do at the same time, the same reporting is used for the Global Covenant of Mayors, also for the Race to Resilience and the Race to Zero. So there's no additional reporting burden that we add, making this easy also for the local governments. One place to go to. Next slide, please. The Online Solutions Gateway is a wonderful place where we're uploading translated solutions. So this is a multilingual accessible support. And please do take a look at that website also for future actions, because we need to scale up our climate action as well.
And we need to scale up and speed up our climate action and the presentation as well, Marijke, if you don't mind.
Sure. Then let's maybe move to the lessons learned. I think that's an important piece if we can. So if we can move to the next slide. Next. So these are just examples of cities that from planning to action, and wonderful sets of actions implemented as snapshots. Next slide, please. And let's zoom in on the lessons learned, because this project certainly has helped set the scene. This indeed was a flagship project for ICLEI, and we see that the comprehensive support offer that we give to the local governments can help them achieve their commitments to the Global Covenant as well as to the Race to Zero. Access to finance has been identified as a key challenge, especially helping the banks to understand that local project identification has to involve the local government, and that there's much more need for supporting preparations and enabling access to investment. Stable policies must make sure that the climate action plans are embedded across the whole system of the municipal planning processes, and of course inform the NDC, what is the subnational contribution? And last but not least, focusing on multi-level governance, there are some fantastic opportunities that still remain to better integrate across different levels of government, working together, jointly tracking impacts and helping each other to understand where the potential for scaling up is. Thank you so much, and I would like to hand over to my colleague Esther, who will be focusing on the finance piece of the work. Finance is important. Esther, over to you.
Thank you so much, Marijke, and very excited to be here today after all these years and all this work we have done in Urban LEDS together. So Marijke mentioned that accessing finance is indeed one of the most important angle and one of the key bottlenecks of local government. So the Transformative Actions Program, the next slide, please. The so-called TAP was the finance angle of the Urban LEDS project, and here with the TAP, we tried to help local and regional governments to enable the conditions for them to access finance and to help them with their net zero emission and climate resilient local project development. The TAP is a project pipeline, but also a project preparation facility. Because we help our projects with that project preparation and, as I said, with the ultimate goal to access finance for the projects. We also use TAP as an advocacy instrument to show the demand and the diversity of the demand of the local projects. The next slide, please. So what we achieved within Urban LEDS and the TAP. So there were, as Marijke already mentioned, 63 projects submitted with an estimated investment potential of 40.7 billion euro, which is huge. And after the projects are submitted, we do a screening at ICLAI. And this screening is based on the transformative impact potential of the projects. And when they prove to be, when they show a high transformative impact potential, then they are approved to our project pipeline. So as you can see, out of the 63 projects, we have 33 projects which we have in the TAP project pipeline. And as I said, the ultimate goal is to help these projects to access finance. We also look constantly for opportunities for our pipeline projects, who are the potential technical, financial experts, other project preparation facilities to connect with. And we connected 21 projects with potential financiers. We also do a lot of capacity building, and we developed 4 finance tools, which were all local demand driven. So these are all very practical tools. Later on, there will be a slide to give you a snapshot on those. And we organized 4 pitch events to help the connection between the project submitters and the financiers. And we organized also 4 workshops, again, demand-driven workshops where we gave the opportunity for peer learning and knowledge exchange between the cities. The next slide, please. Here you can see the regional and the sector distribution of our TAP projects, Urban LEDS TAP projects. So as you see, most of the projects we have from Latin America and the Caribbean, followed by Africa and Asia, and then Europe. Regarding the sector distribution, as you can see, land use and energy projects take the biggest share. Can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah, with this slide, I mean, obviously, I can speak a lot about our TAP projects, and all the 63 projects were amazing. But here I just picked 4 just to really show you the idea and the diversity of the projects we received through the TAP to Urban LEDS. So I picked one project from Rwanda, Kigali, where the goal is to pilot, to test and expand solutions for public spaces. This project came very recently to our pipeline in November, and now we are looking for opportunities, just as we do for all projects in our pipeline opportunities. So we are checking how to support them further. Then there was one project, a relative small scale, but very interesting one from Topaga, Colombia, an eco-stove project, which is already partly implemented and even is showcased as a case study in a knowledge product, which I just linked here. Lao submitted very late at TAP application, but very.
Can I also speed you up a little? Thanks.
Of course. So yeah, without going into details, I'm super happy to give you more insights on TAP projects if you would like to reach out. This is just a snapshot. And the next slide, please. And here again, please just visit the Solutions Gateway or the TAP website, where you can also see the tools that I just mentioned that we developed together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Esther. I guess it's now my turn to cherry pick and to give you a little bit of insights on what we have discussed and what we have implemented within Urban LEDS when it comes to peer-to-peer learning. My name is Giorgia Rambelli. I'm a coordinator for climate policy and energy governance at the European Secretariat of ICLE, and it was our real pleasure to try to bring together all of these different cities and all of these different representatives into a cohesive program that could really support them in increasing their knowledge, but also in really being inspired by others. If you can go to the next slide, please. So just to give you a quick overview of some of the results, a few of these things have already been mentioned by the colleagues before me, but we really focus into having a quite diversified approach to peer learning. These are just some of the key activities that we have implemented that I want to zoom in on. We have organized 4 different peer-to-peer workshops, one in particular focusing on bankability of projects. You already heard from Esther how important it was as a topic for our urban-led cities, but also to look into different types of technology and integration of solutions across different sectors. Here we have 74 city staff participating and sharing their knowledge. We also had an international seminar not too far ago, where we had the opportunity in 2 days to discuss through 4 sessions and 2 marketplace rounds the experiences of 11 of our cities worldwide, and 4 sessions really focusing on the needs and the expertise within the specific regions that are part of Urban LEDS. And some of the results of this international workshop were also including video contributions, a few of which you managed to have a look at earlier during our session. Another key type of activity that we have implemented that was particularly successful was our European study tour, an 8 days journey with 3 stops across North, South, and East of Europe, where the city of Helsinki, Warsaw, and the city of Bologna hosted us all to learn a little bit more what they are doing, what are the solutions that they are implementing, and how they are working with their community and with their stakeholders to implement climate action on the ground. Here we had 28 city representatives from 24 cities from 16 different countries across the world to really learn about solutions, participate in presentation, looking at site visits, exchange, testing some of the measures that were implemented, but most of all, started to make friends and to really also engage with the community of cities worldwide. Then last but not the least, we organize a number of meetings and knowledge exchanges. Here I manage the 7 webinars that we have organized on a number of different topics, but of course it's important to remember also the very packed agenda that we had during COP26, where we had 2 full weeks dedicated to urban-led dialogues where cities continue to exchange. If you can go to the next slide. I want to share just some of the key ingredients that helped us shape this different work program, but also that they contain some of the lessons learned that we had. So first of all, we realized that it's extremely important to understand deeply the needs of the cities that we are engaging into this process. We need to keep an open mind. Very often while seeing the exchange happening, cities themselves understood that they would like to learn more about specific aspects, specific technology, specific sectors that maybe were not in the back of their head when we started this process. The second aspect is, of course, to keep an open mind and be curious as much as possible. So leaving space and trying to change in a meaningful way also the program and how it is implemented on the ground. The third lesson learned is to debrief and evaluate. So leave as much as possible time to really also ensure that we have enough possibility to debrief and to evaluate and to learn also by the mistakes that the cities are making. So an open and transparent place where this exchange can be taking place. If you can go to the next slide, please. I would invite you all to look into the results of the European study tour and to see all the presentations and a lot of the beautiful pictures also that we took here to also get the sense for what not only they have learned, but also what the exchange looked like in terms of the community building. If you can go to the next slide. Now, a final round of lessons learned and ingredients here. I already mentioned the importance of reassessing and to be flexible in what is being organized. So first of all, I already mentioned the importance of reassessing the needs on the ground, but also to align them to the different changing contexts. Although cities are coming from different perspectives, most of them share common challenges. They might have different results, might have different solutions that can be applied, but they all could find together things that they can learn from each other, be inspired by, and really enhance as much as possible their replicability. Obviously, the COVID pandemic also brought about quite a challenge, so we had to continuously reinvent the format that we were using for these peer exchanges, and here is my 5th key recommendation Make sure that you know your target group and that you also try to find formats that can continuously be changed and evolve together with the situations in which you're facing these different challenges. And then finally, open up the discussion to a number of different stakeholders and to the possibility also to engage different sectors across the planning and to listen from the community of the cities. If you can zoom into 2 more slides. So here's peer-to-peer workshop. Again, just have a look into the website. You will find a lot of information and a lot of results, including a number of fact sheets where you will see the experiences of our cities. So a little bit of homework for all of you to learn more about what our cities have done. And then the final slide with the final recommendation, if you can go to the next one. My last but very important lesson learned is foster and strengthen your community. I said it already before, the study tool was an opportunity to make friends to a certain extent, but it's really important to see how it builds upon not only the political commitment, but also the personal commitment of the people that have been exchanging in this process. I have to say, maybe there is a neat ingredient, which is also luck. We were very lucky to have a number of wonderful city representatives and a number of wonderful cities that really put their heart and their soul and their knowledge into these exchanges. And so they brought this extra magic to all of our activities. So to learn more, please visit our website. Thank you. And I would like to pass the floor now to my colleague, Stephen Blunt, for another zoom in on the great results of this project.
Thanks so much, Georgia. And we're some really rich sharings on how to do peer-to-peer exchanges that I hope is useful for everyone here. We're running out of time, so I want to give a very quick, you can go to the next slide, Celia. Multi-level governance, what's it all about? It's a very important component of the project, one of 2 big transversal themes, the first one being finance, the second multi-level governance. And you can interrogate this diagram in much more detail afterwards. It's on our website, but we try to conceptualize what we mean by multi-level governance. And one of the important characteristics for UN Habitat and for ICLEI is not just that we look at the integration between tiers of government in a vertical sense, so between the UNFCCC down to the Ministries of Environment and then local government environment departments, but we also consider it as a horizontal integration issue in the substantive ministries, line ministries that control significant amounts of expenditure, that be it the transport, the infrastructure, the housing, the local government departments. These are all very important ministries that need to be involved in and engaged in the climate change discussion, that we can get that mainstreaming as well as that vertical coordination between different tiers of government. And so you can go to the next slide. We work in 2 main ways on this in the project. The first is to use our existing and develop new normative tools and guidance for practitioners, for local governments and national governments. And the main one that we produced in this project was one on a guide for national governments on how to make sure that the potential of urban climate action is integrated into their NDC process, both devising the NDC, but also now as we move into implementation. But we also, in the next slide, we also don't just produce documents and guides, we work with national governments in the project and beyond to actually support them in policy alignment, in project identification, and in mainstreaming climate into the wide variety of sectoral policies and plans that they have. And of particular excitement, I think, and we'll hear from Mr. Sabiti from the ministry in Rwanda, we worked closely with the NDC partnership and GIZ to embed an advisor into the Ministry of Infrastructure and Finance in Rwanda to work on integrating urban issues into their NDC implementation plan and support their excellent work that they're doing there already. Next slide. And lastly, multi-level governance in this project has taken a strong governmental shape. We've focused a lot on the relationship between local and national government, but of course in the project and in other work, multi-level governance involves a whole range of other actors. And one that I want to flag to you that we worked on a lot in Urban LEDS towards the end of the project was the governance between academia and practice. And the Innovate for Cities agenda and conference that took place in October last year, and we're about to release a new global research and action agenda on climate change action. Insights from this conference that feed that document, and that really is an agenda shared by many different academics and practitioners around the world about what kind of knowledge, what kind of data we need to co-create to advance our shared goals. And so I really encourage you to look at that also from a multi-level governance perspective. There's much more that we could say. There will be some more resources going up on the website in the next couple of weeks. As we're out of time, I want to hand back over to Bernard and we'll move on. And we've got some great speakers from national government and local government. Thanks, Bernard.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephen, and everyone else. I know you all spoke as fast as you could, but I think with the presentation, all the messages were clear. And of course, there were the questions there. Will we share the presentations and the recording? Yes, we can do that. And maybe just to also very quickly say, while Celia, can you maybe share the Mentimeter? Just very briefly say we have some time, hopefully, for a quick discussion after the next slot of presentations. So please feel free to put your questions into the chat. We don't have time for individual conversations now. Celia, do you want to briefly indicate or present the Mentimeter results?
Yes, sure. So let me just go again to this. So yeah, here we have 2 questions for all of you, for all the participants. First of all, you can provide here, you can say which is your sector of expertise. Among all of these, there are academia, research institution, private sector, etc. So please fill this in. And then there is also another question for you. What single project, initiative, or solution are you most excited about being implemented in your city or institution right now? So please share with us your answers, your opinions, and then we will have a word cloud with all of our answers that we will share later with you. So thanks all of you for participating.
Thanks, Celia, and you can see now people are starting to fill this in. Thanks very much. So with this, I'm pleased to move to the next panel discussion. We have now the reflections from local and national government representatives. And again, we will keep it strictly to 5 minutes each. So this time I will invite speakers individually. First, we have Mr. Imala Intawala, the Deputy Director General from the Department of Climate Change from MONRE, from Lao PDR. DG, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you very much for inviting us to join the closing the Urban LEDS 2 project. Honorable Nuna Sari, Executive Director UN Habitat, and Kino Wan, Beginner Secretary General of the ICLEI. Distinguished guests, it's my great honor to attend today local climate action, financing and multi-level cooperation under Urban LEDS 2 project. Let me begin extending my gratitude to the UN Habitat, European Commission, and ICLEI for the partnering to support implement the Urban LEDS 2 project. And I congratulate the project team of the UN Habitat, ICLEI, and a successful completion of the project. Madam Executive Director, after 4 years of the project officially ended in November 2021, for Lao in the Urban LEDS 2 project involved the capacity building national level and 2 model city of the Quezon Pomihan and Patsy, as well as 4 satellite city. The initiatives of the project were always well supported by European Commission through UN Habitat and ICLEI Urban LEDS project team who work directly with the local and national government and key stakeholders in Laos in accelerating the low emission development process. Madam Executive Director, I am very pleased to say that the vertical integrated component of the project had brought many benefits to our ministry and provincial district, the Natural Resources and Environment Office. The institutional mapping exercise highlights aspects. The coordinate includes the capacity gap between national and sub-national level. In light of this, the project took further action to help bridge this capacity gap. This includes the development of guidelines for the sub-national staff member, focusing the climate legislation and international commitment, climate finance, measuring report, and verification. The lastly, government and the planning strategy on the climate change coordination, local government and natural resources staff in the model city. Bangladesh. But representative of the new knowledge and idea that's gained from the guideline. Moreover, through the Urban LEDS 2 project, our department worked with the city on formulating the climate action plan that bring together the mitigation and adaptation effort. The climate action presents the opportunity to support the national mitigation and target as well as mean implementing the climate policy and strategy in order to achieve the emission neutrality and climate resilience by 2050, like with the NDC. Furthermore, we would like to highlight the successful implementation of the 2 small-scale infrastructure demonstration projects involved the solar power and energy efficiency in the 2 cities. In the 2 cities, infrastructure city involved the solar. This pilot project demonstrate in the city pursued to toward low emission development as a contribute to the city GHG emission reduction potential and provide the benefit adopting the new renewable energy into the city green concept agenda.
DG, could we ask you to come to an end?
Yeah. Once again, we would like to thank all the partners, the project team in both the urban LEDS 2 implementation in Laos. I highly hope that the work with the urban LEDS 2 project does not stop even at this fruitful project come to the end. And I do believe that the projects, the city will continue to sustain their output and outcome for the truly the long-term impact. Finally, we are hoping to sustain this cooperation among city and project partner even beyond the project completion. But urban tree in the future. So both the national and sub-national level require strategic support, and we're looking forward to continue to cooperation with you. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, we also look forward to that continuation, and apologies for rushing you. It's my pleasure now to invite Mohammed Shariful Islam, the Chief Engineer from Rajshahi City Corporation, Bangladesh. Sir, the floor is yours.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, greeting everyone from Rajshahi City Corporation of Bangladesh. This is Shariful Islam, Chief Engineer of Rajshahi City Corporation. The city, Rajshahi has been actively worked on climate and sustainable urban development. Since 2008, with supports from ICLEI, South Asia, Rajshahi City Corporation has undertaken various climate change and sustainability related projects. Next slide. Rajshahi City Corporation has recently implemented the Accelerating Climate Action through the promotion of low emission urban development strategies in emerging economic countries. Urban LEDS to project with funding from European Commission. The overall objective of this project was to contribute to greenhouse gas emission reduction through developing such a low emission development strategy, building our capacities, and exchanging knowledge with different stakeholders. With the project, Rajshahi City Corporation and ICLEI South Asia has jointly developed a climate resilient city action plan, CRCAP, for Rajshahi to advance more on prioritized climate action identified in the strategic documents. Recently, Rajshahi City Corporation is in process of official approval of CRCAP through council meeting. Before developing the CRCAP for Rajshahi City Corporation, we prepared citywide carbon greenhouse gas emission inventories to understand the greenhouse gas emission trend and incorporate it into the CRCAP. The greenhouse gas baseline helped us to identify key source of emissions. We are expecting now that we can identify specific climate mitigation action based on these. I can refer to a climate mitigation action that we have undertaken recently through the Urban LEDS 2 project, which is on investment grade energy audit and energy efficiency intervention through retrofits of main administrative building of Rajshahi City Corporations. This demonstration project will help us for potential energy conversion in Rajshahi City Corporation main building. Apart from this greenhouse gas emission inventory, we have also prepared the climate risks and vulnerability assessment report to examine the city's fragile urban system through a climate lens to identify their vulnerable areas, hotspots, and population, which help to identify risk-wise geographical areas in the Rajshahi city. Similar to the climate mitigation pilot, we have also implemented another climate adaptation project, that is development of a comprehensive open green space plan and enhance cities biodiversity through plantation. This will help us with the city's green areas and documentation of floral wealth for better integration into the urban development process. Next slide, please. There are still significant data gaps for the city to measure, plan, and monitor climate resilience actions. Therefore, prioritizing the right approaches and implementing climate action will require collaboration with local partners, including from public and private sectors, in an inclusive way. Each city has a strong role to play in reducing pollution and building resilience through multiple sectors. And it is important to collaborate with key stakeholders and organizations shaping these sectors to propose successful solution. Next slide, please. In the end, I would like to take this opportunity to express my sincere thanks to all the speakers, participants, for making the event successful. I hope that everyone will take advantage of cross-learning from this important event. I warmly welcome you everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. It is now my pleasure to invite the Honorable Mayor of Quezon, Mayor Pravin Singh Chaleun-Suk, please. The floor is yours, Honorable Mayor. We cannot hear you, Mayor. Then maybe we jump ahead. And the next speaker is Mr. Sudirman Jaya Lekasana, the head of the Environment Agency of Balikpapan City. I see, I can hear the mayor now. Sorry, Mr. Mayor. I think if you open your camera, we can see you, we can hear you at the moment.
Yeah, okay. Can you hearing me, sir?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, my video cannot open.
No problem.
Yeah, I will speak by not video. It's okay?
Yes, of course. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, as said, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation to the UN Habitat, European Commission, and ICLEI for hosting and organizing this webinar, as well as for the support on the urban LEDS 2 project implementation. The urban LEDS 2 in Quezon Province City started at a 4-year project in 2018. Under the overall goal is to define a pathway to transition our city to a low emission and resilient under economy. Throughout the project implementation, I can say that the project has performed successfully in our city through the many climate action activities. In particular, through the vertical integration component, our city has been assisted in developing the tailor-made guideline and capacity to consider or develop comprehensive under LEDS and integrate climate action plan. The climate action plan or capacity recently developed for our city can also be a milestone for the success story for the project as well as for our city. Moreover, as part of the under LEDS 2 project, Quezon Province City has demonstrated the solar power and energy efficiency pilot project to Quezon Province as well as Pakse City in November 2021. For Kaesong City, a 55 kmp grid connected solar photovoltaic system with a net metering capability was installed in the city public park in the power the existing water pumping system in the park. This small-scale infrastructure pilot project help contribute to our city in reducing GHG emission in the energy sector at the community level. As it was estimated to produce approximately 33,480 kWh per year, equivalent to a reduction of carbon emission of about 13.99 TCO2 per year. More importantly, it seeks to empower the community beneficiary toward energy and resource efficiency, helping them contribute to the city low carbon development transition. Finally, I would like once again to thank the UN Habitat and ICLEI through the support from European Commission and on Connected. We know that the urban LEDS project will be carried out sometime in the near future. In spite of that, I sincerely hope that great result of this project will be maintained, even expand that it to say transfer to of knowledge and capacity from the trained staff to other staff will keep on going on, as well as to local climate policy development and pilot infrastructure provided. I hope that we will continue to implement the next phase of the urban LEDS project in the near future. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mayor. We have reached the official end of the session, but hopefully most of you can stay on for maybe an extra 15 minutes to hear the final speakers, but also to engage briefly in the question and answer session. So with that, I would now like to invite Mr. Sudirman Jayalaksana, the head of the Environmental Agency of Balikpapan City, Indonesia, for the presentation. I know you have a long presentation that we will show, but nonetheless, the time is 5 minutes. But we will share the presentation with the participants. Okay, so we need to assign you a speaker and show the presentation. Apologies for that additional delay.
Okay, thank you for the time. Can you hear my voice clear?
Yes.
Yes, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Firstly, on behalf of Head of Balikpapan City Agency, Bapak Sudirman Jayalaksana, I, Nur Samsyarni, would like to thank you for the great opportunities and benefits for the cooperation between through the Urban LEDS program. Okay, yes, we have a long presentation, but in the slide, we will, this is the Balikpapan City's profile. I think we can skip for this slides. Maybe we can, in the fourth, this slide 4, please. Okay, first, from the Urban LEDS 2, we get great opportunities that which is the program funded by the European Fund and is implemented by UN Habitat and ICLEI, local governance for sustainable cities. And Balikpapan joined for the phase 1 and phase 2 in the slide 9, please. Okay. Yeah, from the this slide by the Urban LEDS 2, we've got some benefits from this corporation that we have already got the capacity building, renewal of GHG emission inventory, and some of studies such as study of vulnerability and risk assessment of climate change impacts, study of urban co-benefit adaptation, and of course, in landfill area, we call it TPAS Manggar. We've got small project assistance to optimize the utilization of methane gas at the Manggar sanitary landfill. The benefit are the about 50 households got the methane gas utilization. And from the some of the studies, we have already take the study from the result to implement to the medium city planning for 2021 and 2026. And by the project, we have already tried to make some cooperation with the stakeholders, and by the CSR program, we've got some private sector to implement how the program from the adaptation and mitigation program to support the commitment of Balikpapan city government for the development to low emission development program. And for the for the slide 14, please. Yes, for the 2020, we have two projects that we will run well, I think. Firstly, we have already with the with the finance ministry will be cooperate for the final business case at Manggar Waste Management Project. It will be involve the private sector how to develop the TPAS Manggar as the landfill area, which can be get more benefit for the local society. And the next one, we have a power plant project that the waste material utilization pilot project for the energy sector, and the two project it's what is it is the program that this program related to the commitment for the Balikpapan government how to reduce the waste management, how to reduce the waste. And we can show this in the slide 12. Yes, this is the we can show how the cooperation between the project, and this is the Pak Ari Muhammad as the project country of Indonesia from ICLEI. And we realized that without the support from the stakeholders, NGO, and fund the budget from the others, it will be hard to get the local target or for the emission reducing. So that I think with the program, the next program for urban LEDS, Balikpapan, if ready, will be the next program. Still in the commitment will be we will kindly to involve in the next program with the maybe with this urban LEDS program or the other program that related with the Balikpapan commitment to for the sustainable development. Thank you very much for all the supports from the many organization for the project and for Balikpapan City. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the very comprehensive presentation. Yes, we of course look forward to engage with you in the future. So with that, we now move to the two African partner countries. First, we have the mayor of Dukuza municipality, Councillor Lindile Naka from South Africa. Over to you.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity. Greetings, session facilitator, Mayor of Layo PDR, Executive Director, UN Habitat, ICLEI World Secretariat, ICLEI Europe, Georgia Rambeli, Secretary General of ICLEI, Director for Green Deal, UN Habitat, Stephen Blend, Deputy Director General for the Department of Climate Change, Chief Engineer, City Corporation Bangladesh, Head of Environmental Agency of Balikpapan City, all protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor for KwaDukuza municipality to be accorded an opportunity to reflect on the urban LEDS project from a local government point of view, and to also share some outcomes of the urban LEDS projects in our fledgling city that aspires to be a vibrant city by 2030. KwaDukuza is a coastal city in KwaZulu-Natal.
Mayor, we cannot see you. Now we can. Now we can. Your camera is on now. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. KwaDukuza is a coastal city in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa, with a recorded population of over 231,000. Once again, it is an honor to be part of this project, which has supported us with multiple tangible and critical outputs, which includes the development of our greenhouse gas inventory, as well as climate risk and vulnerability assessment. Based on these assessments, and according to the basic reporting level sectors, stationary energy is the largest contributor to greenhouse gases emissions, contributing a total of 68%, followed by transport at 25%, and waste at 7%. The risk based on these assessments and according to the basic reporting level sectors, stationary energy is the largest contributor to greenhouse gases emissions, contributing a total of 68%, followed by transport at 25% and waste at 7%. The risk assessment indicates that the 4 highest climate risks are heat stress, drought, river flooding, and coastal flooding. These are anticipated to increase in frequency and intensity, and will have a high impact on many sectors and services. This knowledge confirms that the time to act is now. And through the urban LEDS projects, we've also been delighted to have received support with on-the-ground implementation of a demonstration project. The project has supported our institution with the energy metering program for buildings to reduce the demand for energy to improve resource efficiency of buildings. To this end, we can expect reduced negative results of greenhouse gas emissions. The project has enabled us to undertake baseline audits and contributed towards building our human resource capacity for energy management, value chain to support energy efficient interventions in municipal building and street lighting portfolio. In our view, a critical success factor has been the renewal of our integrated development roadmap, which now factored in the climate change checklist and recommendations. These recommendations will inform the next review of our integrated development plan. We have also improved our capacity for low emissions through our involvement in several peer-to-peer and multi-level governance exchange programs. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to focus on finances. A key challenge for local municipalities has been access to climate finance for local solutions. These urban-led projects have substantively provided much-needed support to overcome financial barriers. We have submitted a funding application to the Transformative Action Platform under the theme Planning for Sea Defenses Against Climate Change for Waduguza Coastline Project. The project assesses the feasibility of providing protection to the shoreline from rising sea levels in our southern region, Balito, and to prepare costing for potential sea defense role out within Waduguza and other vulnerable areas within South Africa. During the Daring Cities Congress in October 2020, the Waduguza was selected and then prepared in training to test their transformative action platform pitch to funders. And so this brings me to two key highlights. Firstly, we need more support in accessing finance activities that help develop investment cases. Concept notes and free feasibility studies remain critical. Activities that support multi-level governance are equally important. Please do consider this initiative in future designs of projects. Secondly, it remains essential to understand the municipality's long and mid-term goals or look at the initiatives of the municipality in terms of projects implemented in previous financial years to get an appetite of the posture of the municipality when it comes to project implementation. We need municipalities to be at the forefront of designing future grants and funds. Climate change is the most serious global challenge of our time. Then being on the local municipalities in the country to pitch for compacts of mayors status is a reaffirmation of our commitment in the fight against climate change and a step further towards a climate activism and action for our people. Our vision statement of becoming a city by 2030 holds true to our successful interventions in dealing with climate change challenges. This is a clear indication that we are a progressive city in the making, in its path towards a low carbon economy. I wish to convey my deepest gratitude to all project partners. The outstanding work we have achieved as an institution wouldn't be possible if it were not for your support. Let us continue to support each other because as a collective, we can do more. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. In the interest of time, we go straight to the last presentation in this slot. Mr. Fred Sabiti, the Technical Advisor for the Rwanda Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Climate change has become a reality nowadays, and it is continuing to render serious negative impacts globally. Economies, mostly those from Africa that are highly endowed, and depends on the natural resources for people's livelihoods have not fully taken a strong economic development due to the fact that little consideration was and is still given to the sustainable investment with a wider range of stimulus packages to stem sustainable economic impact. Some of these stimulus packages include those that have been provided to different countries through RED 1 and 2. To sustainably manage RED project achievements, there is a need for countries to put forward sustainable investment policies and strategies and explore innovative financing approaches for enabling institutional investment in climate-smart infrastructure projects in emerging markets that can help close the climate investment gap. This requires an imminent involvement of policymakers at different levels of decision-making to advance the need for sustainable infrastructure development as a key driver for progress, a critical enabler for productivity and sustainable economic growth. If this is taken into consideration, we will have a positive impact to human development, poverty reduction, and improvement of people's welfare. For the case of Rwanda, the country is increasingly experiencing the impacts of climate change. Rainfall has become increasingly intense, and the variability is predicted to increase by 5 to 10% by the year 2050. These changes in temperature and precipitation and their distributions are drivers and weather-related disasters that negatively affect the economy, including through drought, floods, and landslides, which result in damages to infrastructure. Rwanda has taken a strong stride to combat the effects of climate change through putting in place policies and strategies that support and incentivize the National Sustainable Development Agenda. The country's Vision 2050 is built and advocates for the infrastructure and systems that enable carbon growth and sustainable resource use, the national capital and associated spatial development that ensures sustainable development, and the human capital development and economic inclusion that will build the resilience of the Rwandan people. This requires zero carbon and environmentally sound climate-smart investment supported by energy and infrastructure systems that promote green industry and increasing connectivity for regional and global trade, including resource-efficient infrastructures and the physical capital to drive green industry and trade growth, powered by low carbon and climate-resilient energy and transport systems. Rwanda will support the development of niche green infrastructure intensification that increases the country's competitiveness and global integration. Examples of such investments that Rwanda is currently implementing include, but not limited to, establishment and implementation of green city pilot projects, introduction and use of resource efficiency and cleaner production in industries, introduction of electric mobility, as well as the development and use of green building codes. Investing in climate-smart industry alone will contribute to GDP by almost double from 18% to 33% over the period from 2020 to 2050. For this to happen, investing in climate-resilient infrastructure needs to be strongly supported to urgently mobilize and attract new investments to drive prosperity on the front lines of a planetary climate emergency. This will activate a targeted development and investment agenda to bring prosperity through climate-sound economic action while strengthening global cooperation for fighting climate change and building back better from the COVID-19 pandemic. Rwanda has updated its national determined contributions and has also put in place the NDC implementation framework with clear agreed upon urbanization-related projects, same as urban RED, that if resources are mobilized and could support future urban low carbon development. In conclusion, Rwanda appreciates the impacts of urban RED project too, that will continue to be sustained through other range of projects interventions across Rwanda's urbanization sector. However, more resources and partnership from private sector, civil society, as well as development partners is still needed to be able to mobilize the required resources of the tune of around $6.5 billion to meet the targets that we have in the NDC revised report, as well as to meet the 70% that we target of our people that will live in urbanized areas by the year 2050. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, and thanks for the comprehensive overview from Rwanda. thank you all for staying on so long. We have only had a few apologies, people leaving, but we are significantly over time, and I don't see specific questions in the chat. Some concrete questions were raised, and I see that connections were already made for follow-up. And maybe just to instead of then the question and answer, for me to say, yes, the project is over, but UN Habitat and ICLEI, of course, continue the programs that have come out of LEDS. The ICLEI UN Habitat partnership also persists, and in most of the countries, UN Habitat and ICLEI have offices, so we are certainly very eager to continue the engagement with all of you, and we very much appreciate the endorsement and the request for follow-up that's come from all of the speakers. So thank you very much for not only sharing the good practices across multi-level governance, finance, and concrete actions, but also on the partnerships. And maybe before I close, also an opportunity for me to say thank you to ICLEI and the EC. We have, I think, worked extremely well together, built very well working teams at the country level, regionally and globally, but also have developed strong friendships over the last 8 years. So thank you to all of you. But of course, most importantly, thanks to all of the participants here, all of the partner cities, all of the partner governments and other urban stakeholders that have engaged. We look, as I said, forward to continuing, and we are, of course, also still continuing to update the website. You see that my colleagues are posting the website in the chat as I speak. So that's another way of engaging with us in the future. So thank you all for your participation, for your engagement in the project, and for so willingly sharing your experiences. Thank you very much, and yes, congratulations to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.